Hearing this explanation, Chokwi was briefly stunned. In the next instant, the man made a facepalm, realizing what the elders would do to him at the next meeting. As expected, everyone was outraged by what had happened. No one could understand how the participants could have gotten so many injuries right before the competition. Throughout the past meeting, the chairman had been trying to convince the Supreme Elder that if someone like Anmin became the young clan head, something more terrible would happen. 5. And the only thing the Great Elder, Tang Seokchan, came up with was simply to change one of the rules of the contest. While in formation, a purple-haired girl asked if there would be a competition. Standing beside her, another girl with glasses explained that starting from a normal mount, the participants would have to endure 2 to 3 years of training and then perform one-on-one duels. The girl with purple hair looked at her in a perplexed manner and asked who she was. The participant with glasses explained that she was just answering the question. Then, the purple-haired girl remembered that the details of the competition were not revealed to anyone. Then how did she know about all of this? With a smirk, the participant with glasses said that her father worked at the general staff, so she got a little hint from him. After all, no matter where you are, any information is important. At the same time, walking out to the participants of the upcoming contest, some blue-haired man asked for silence. Introducing himself as the head of the Dark King clan, Tang Chokwi said that he would be the one overseeing this competition, and he would now voice out the demands. All the participants marveled at seeing this man in front of them. The Chokwi chapter is the youngest chapter, which cannot but be impressive. The competition lasts for 4 years. Of these, 3 whole years are devoted to training. The first year is dedicated to finding the right methodology for personalized training. The next 2 years of competition will be led by designated warriors. This time will be devoted to comprehensive training. And after all the training is complete, the main competition will begin. Recently, this girl with glasses said that the form of competition would be a one-on-one duel, but she was wrong. At the very end, anyone who could overcome 3 years of rigorous training would have to fight using Gu's poison method. Hearing such harsh terms, all the participants were immediately stunned. Poison Gu is a potion where poisonous creatures are placed in a jug where they are taken to devour each other. Eventually, all the toxins were concentrated in the sole survivor. Poison Gu dueling is a combat competition in which contestants fight until only one person remains. Originally, the young clan head was supposed to be chosen based on the results of one-on-one duels. But due to the incident that had just occurred, many had dropped out of the competition. If things continue as originally intended, incidents like this could happen again. Thus, the Council of Elders changed the format of the competition to allow everyone to unleash their full strength. Fixing his beard, Tang Seokchan announced to everyone that this situation was precisely because of Tang Anmin. This was not just a childish fight, but a noble ceremony where people risked their lives to cross their limits. Therefore, the tasks of the participants are to fight, survive, and win. The winner will possess everything that belongs to the Sichuan Tang family. Among the contestants are guys like Tan Minchin and Tan Jonggol. Also worth paying attention to are Tan Yongyong and Tan Seochan. The last major contender for the title of clan head may be Tang Kaunlin. Well, in a bout of Poison Gu, only one will survive. And after looking over all of his potential opponents, Anmin was once again convinced that the next 4 years would not be so difficult. Sichuan Province, Black Death Alliance Territory, Dark Moon Sword Sect Camp. Meeting room. After thanking everyone for gathering here today despite their business, the man with 2 swords behind his back asked them to listen to what he had to say. All of them must have already been aware of the plan that the Tang family is developing right now. According to the spies' reports, the Tangs had already announced the competition for the young head's position a few days ago. Immediately afterward, the participants, that is, the children who could potentially take the head's place, left in wagons. Of course, the Tang family is now in such a position that the leader of the Black Death Alliance, Liu Kil, could easily destroy them at any time if he wanted to. But for now, he is not touching them because they are still useful. It's clear as day that these children are the future of the Tang family. If something goes wrong, it will cause irreparable damage. Of course, the words of the Dark Moon Sword Sect's sect leader are undoubtedly true. Even though they deny it, the Tang family still has something that Liu Kil and his men should be careful with. That was why it would be the best choice for the Black Death Alliance to delay attacking Sutang for now. Tracking the wagon and picking off the buds that the Tan family is trying to grow will be easy, but it won't hurt them that much. The competition for the head position is 4 years long. It's not hard to imagine what would happen if they did their best to raise those children and they died in the middle of the tournament. This will be a truly fatal blow. Essentially, the same thing will happen to Su Tang as it did to the Chal and Moyeon families. This man with two swords behind his back is called Mak Ying-hu, and he is a member of the Dark Moon Sword sect. Today, this man gathered his colleagues in one place to ask them to follow the direction of the wagon, and then make his move after only 4 years. Surveillance had already been organized. Moreover, Mak Ying-hu had planted a small seed. Perhaps the entire Tang family would soon fall into the hands of the Dark Moon Sword sect. Common Mountain, the venue eyed the Tan family competing for the position of young head. Although the rules of the competition have changed, the schedule and procedures remain the same. During the competition, participants will be called by numbers instead of names. Turning to the children, the instructor told them that there were 4 people in each group. The group he was leading was number 7. However, when the man decided to count the participants in his group, he noticed that one was missing. The only ones standing there were Tang Ikon at number 27, Tang Miryo at number 26, and Tang Yuri, number 25. Looking around, the instructor saw number 28, who for some reason had fallen behind the group. When the man asked why he was weaving so slowly, Anmin apologized, saying that he was just a bit thoughtful. Shouting that they had no time to hover in the clouds, the instructor asked the boy to keep up, except that Anmin had fallen behind for a reason. Throughout their trek, the guy felt someone's presence. But why didn't the leader of the group feel it himself? It didn't look like a mere passerby or a chaperone of another group of participants had appeared nearby. It is obvious that the 7th group is being tailed. Soon the children and their instructor came to some huge rock wall. Looking puzzled at the rock, Yuri asked the man why they had come here. There's nothing here at all. Unit 7, state your password. Suddenly came from behind a stone wall. While the kids marveled that the rock could talk, the instructor said the password, Poison King of Hidden Poison. In the next second, a crack split in the stone wall and the gate opened. Such an unexpected turn of events greatly surprised the participants of the competition. The only one who didn't care was Anmin. He just stood there, staring blankly at the crack in the rock. "It's a pleasure to welcome you all," muttered some old man, stepping outside to the participants and their escort. That man with the fan introduced himself as Gal Chan. From today, he would be helping the 7th group in the competition. The Gal family was once one of the 5 great families like Su Tang and the Incarnation Masters. But now, it had fallen due to the invasion of the Heavenly Radiance Demon Lord. Accompanying the participants, Gal Chan revealed that his family was barely able to survive, all thanks to the support of the Tan family. In gratitude for this, Gal protects the contest from outside attacks. The main thing the Gal family helps with here is what they are best at, the craft of embodiment. Looking around, Icon noticed that this incarnation technique was really incredible. You can't even tell where you are or what time of year it is. Following Gal Chan, Miryo looked irritatedly at the guy walking behind her. The girl can't understand what's wrong with Anmin. He looks completely uncoordinated. Come to think of it, he was like that in the wagon too. Then the carrier told the children that when they arrived at the place, they would have to walk hand in hand for 3 whole years. So the instructor advised the guys to introduce themselves to each other. Yuri was the first to speak to Anmin, remembering that she had heard a lot about him. Among everyone who came to the competition, there is no one who doesn't know about that fight. Noticing that this boy was indeed famous, Tang Yichong excitedly introduced himself to him. Icon was actually fascinated by the fact that Anmin was able to beat up Young with such ease. Hearing that, Yuri noticed that this kid seemed to be a daredevil. Or maybe he wasn't aware that Young's great-grandfather is one of the 3 chief elders. This kid might be safe while the competition is going on, but afterward, it might turn out bad for him. Anmin looked at the girl with glasses irritatedly and asked what she meant by that. Did she also think that it was his fault that the participants would now have to fight a duel using Gu's poison method? Then, Yuri explained that she wasn't accusing anyone, but was just surprised that the rules had been changed. However, Miryo mouthed that she would argue with that statement. Asking the guys to calm down, Icon reminded them that no matter what, they were now on the same team and needed to get along with each other. Miryo objected in turn, saying that she wanted to argue about it. With her finger pointing at Anmin, the purple-haired girl drew the other's attention to his face. Doesn't he look like someone who always makes others uncomfortable? Turning away, Anmin only smiled, which infuriated the 26th even more. The others may have let this guy get away with it, but Tang Miryo is definitely not going to put up with it. The girl has been preparing for this day for years. If that kid makes trouble again, she won't let it go. Just as suddenly, without noticing Yuri, who had stopped abruptly, the thoughtful Mirio accidentally slammed into her back. Looking angrily at her comrades, the girl asked what it was they were standing up for. That's when the others explained that Coach Gal seemed to have disappeared. He was right in front of them a second ago, and then he suddenly vanished. Where could he have gone? Also frightened, Mirio told him that if one was lost in an incarnation, one could be stuck in a spatial rift forever. Couldn't Coach Gal get lost in her own space? It was only after a while that the girl realized that since Gal-chan himself had managed to get lost in the incarnation, it would be impossible for ordinary participants to get out. And when Yuri suggested just standing still and waiting to be rescued, Mirio noticed Anmin heading somewhere. The girl couldn't understand what was on this guy's mind. Why is he so calm? And in general, what he was going to do. Meanwhile, walking in a different space, Gal-chan realized that these children should probably have started to panic by now. There was no way to get out of the Gal family's phantom dome of 7 castles without a spell. Who would have thought that the Tang family elders would be so petty? To kill an entire group of members just because of one child. Grand Elder Tang, Seok-chan himself, had asked Chan to eliminate participant number 28. Aside from localized purposes, this would lead to a better relationship between the Gal and Tang families. Of course, Gal-chan himself could not ignore such an offer. The unfairness of the competition will only hurt the Tang clan, though it will allow them to achieve their goals, which Chan certainly doesn't care about. At the same time, the Gal family will only improve their position. While pondering this, the old man felt the entire space shake. Hearing some strange sound, he turned around to see what it even was. Behind him, Chan saw contestant number 28 staring at him eerily through the spatial crack. At such a sight, the old man cried out in fright, not understanding how such a thing was possible. Smiling, Anmin asked Master Gal why he ran away so quickly. The old man should still remember that he was accompanying the inexperienced, and so it was difficult for them to keep up with their trainer. The boy advised him to be more careful from now on. Saying that he had indeed made a mistake, Gal-chan looked suspiciously at participant number 28 and tried to figure out how he had managed to find himself here. There was no gap in this old man's creation, right? Looking at Anmin in surprise, the girl with glasses asked how he did it. The boy replied that he had simply cut through space. Icon, too, admiring his friend's ability, couldn't believe that this kid had actually managed to cut the incarnation. Asking the 3 of them to be quiet for a bit, Mirio explained that now was not the time to worry about that. The kids were lucky enough to be able to find Master Gal, so this time they need to follow him carefully so they don't lose him. Saying that, the purple-haired girl pointed her finger at the spot where the coach had just stood. However, it turned out that he was missing again. With a contented exhale, Anmin realized that his guesses were justified. Last time, like this time, was actually an unusual accident. To think a member of the Gal family is running away in his own incarnation from some kid. Even now, Old Man Chong realized that this boy's eyes could not be deceived by simple tricks. But how could a child who was barely 12 years old show such spirit? Soon after a few minutes of running, Gal-chan found the exit leading to the training grounds. Running toward the exit, the old man jumped outside in a panic. Finally finding himself on the other side of the incarnation, he fell to his knees in relief, realizing that this should be enough. No matter what method this boy uses, he can't get in here. But suddenly Master Gal was called out by someone. In front of him stood the overseer of the 7th group, Tang Wonjin. Noting that the old man looked bad, Wonjin noticed that for some reason, the members of the 7th group were nowhere to be seen. When the warden asked the master what was wrong, Chan immediately tried to calm down, remembering that he was prepared for such questions. Looking at Wonjin, he explained that apparently the 7th group would not be competing. Gal-chan said that he waited for a long time, but the participants never showed up. Most likely, they might have been attacked by bandits or wild animals. Unfortunately, these things happen without warning and cannot be predicted. Apparently, the competition will have to continue without the 7th group. As soon as Master Gal said this, the space behind him crackled again. Turning around frightened, Chan finally stopped making sense of things. There's no way his incarnation would just crack like that. Grasping his sword, Wonjin asked the old man if the intruders had broken through here as well. But, blocking the warden's way, the trainer said he would go and check it out himself. At the same moment, a dagger strike was heard on the other side of the incarnation. The space behind Master Gal shattered into pieces. This boy broke one of the highest forms of incarnation of the Gal family. No one had ever been able to break the phantom dome of the 7 locks so easily. Seeing the face of the 28th participant, the doomed Galchan stopped holding back his tears. Meanwhile, after getting out, Anmin smiled grimly. Oh, what a relief. How are you, Master Gal? I've been worried. Surprised that her comrade had broken the phantom dome with such ease, Mirio recognized that it was amazing. He actually destroyed the incarnation with an ordinary short sword. How is that possible? Turning back to her, Anmin explained that he hadn't destroyed the incarnation, but had only made an opening. It would close soon, so the boys had better get out of here soon. The voice of the warden stopped their discussion. Pointing his sword at the children, the man asked if they were from the 7th group. Confirming this, 26 asked who he was. Yichan in turn drew the girl's attention to the bandage on the man's forehead. The crest of the Tang family was painted on it. Lowering his sword, Wanjin said that he was afraid these guys were attacked, just like Master Gal said. Then, looking at the dumbfounded old man Chan, the 28th asked the warden what he meant. Exhaling, Anmin explained that Master Gal seemed to have misunderstood everything himself, and that was why he had told such nonsense to the instructor. In fact, no one had attacked the participants, and they had simply gotten lost. It was only because the trainer had marked the entrance to the incarnation that they had easily found their way here. While their partner was saying that, Icon wanted to say that things were a bit off. But as Yuri covered the guy's mouth with her hand, Mirio asked her friend why Anmin was lying. In response, the girl with glasses said that she didn't know it herself, but I guess there must be a reason. Anmin guessed that Galchan was most likely taking orders from the Tang family. For now, the boy decided to treat it as mere suspicion, but if it was revealed after the competition that this old man was cooperating with the elders, Anmin would eradicate the Gal clan. Laughing awkwardly, Chan pulled out a fan and apologized for such a stupid mistake. Immediately after saying that, he ran away, saying that he urgently needed to check the destroyed incarnation. Left alone with the participants, Tang Wanjin remarked that it was dangerous. Be that as it may, it was very good that the children had returned unharmed. After apologizing to the participants for not accompanying them for a while, Tang Wanjin introduced himself as a member of the Bonbi squad. From this day forward, he would be the one responsible for training the 7th group during the competition. Mirio had heard of the Bonvi squad before. They say they disappeared years ago. The Bonvi squad is a direct military force under the command of the former young clan head of the Tang family's former young clan head. Each of them was comparable to a great leader in terms of strength. This was one of the Tang family's most imposing elite units. The past young chapter was Anmin's mom, a poisonous phoenix. Indifferently picking his nose, Anmin asked the instructor why he wasn't in the Tang family right now. In response, the man said that many years ago, he and his troop had fought to protect his mistress, the young clan head, Poison Phoenix, in a battle against the demon lord of the Heavenly Radiance. In the end, they suffered a crushing defeat. Bonvi's unit proved unable to protect his mistress. That is why they are only worthy to be called sinners. It is not difficult to understand why they left the Tang family. That was the end of the introductions. Next, Wanjin decided to explain the rules of the competition to the participants. The first year of competition is a period of independent practice. Guys can train as they see fit, receive manuscripts and martial arts teachings depending on how they perform. Interrupting the instructor's speech, Yuri asked if it would be possible to obtain the Tang family's legendary technique of raining 10,000 heavenly flowers. After all, this technique was rumored to have been lost in a battle with the Heavenly Radiance Demon Lord. After confirming this, Wanjin said that the rain of 10,000 heavenly flowers would be given to the one who would take the place of the young head. The information is incomplete, but the essence has been passed down from generation to generation. The rain of 10,000 heavenly colors was a technique in which many hidden blades flew like a storm. Perhaps just like the sword control technique that allows one to use internal energy to control a weapon without touching it, Anmin would be able to copy this technique as well. Wanjin could promise that the participants would learn the essence of the 10,000 heavenly flowers rain technique one by one, but he didn't know for sure if they could handle it. Realizing that he was talking too much out of turn, the instructor advised the children to focus solely on training. They could train in groups or individually if they wished. By the way, the participants will live and sleep in the forest. They need to learn how to get everything themselves. It would be strange if at the test they trained in comfortable cribs. Comfort will not make them strong. As Wanjin explained the rules, the Bonwi warriors behind him whispered that such conditions were not a problem in their time, and that the children of today were very spoiled. Did you even see their faces when they were told they would have to live in the forest? As he continued his speech, Wonjin hit each of his subordinates on the head with his fist to stop them from talking nonsense. Sensing that it was most important for the participants to adapt to the extreme conditions, the man told them to start training by preference. Realizing they had no other choice, the frustrated children did not object to the instructor. But suddenly, one of the guys turned to Wonjin. Calmly looking at the warden, Anmin asked what was wrong with sleeping comfortably in a normal bed. Besides, good nutrition is important for a growing body. It seems to the boy that there is no need to adapt to life in the forest. Everyone, both his mates as well as the instructor and the rest of Bonvi's squad, were furious at the brat's words. After a bit of thought, Wonjin was convinced that just as he had thought, this boy was literally the epitome of arrogance. But since he had broken the barrier, it would be a good idea to test his abilities. While the coach was wondering what to do next, Anmin's terrified friends ran up to him, begging him with all their might to take back his words before it was too late. They were stopped by Wonjin's sudden words. The instructor will allow this guy to sleep in the manor inside the incarnation if he passes the test. But if that doesn't happen, contestant number 28 better be prepared for the consequences.
Pet the cat.